Hello, everybody.
Hello again.
So, welcome to yet another episode of Wisdom Save. For those of you who don't already know, I am Ken,
I'm Hannah.
and today we have,
My topic.
we have a fun little topic that Hannah has selected. For those of you who aren't filled in on our little plan, last episode I talked about a topic that Hannah knew a little bit about, but didn't really know a whole lot about, and kind of went into depth on that. She didn't know what I was going to talk about beforehand. Now it's her turn to talk with me about a fun topic that I maybe don't know a whole lot about. I don't know because I'm in the dark on this one. So
I know you know a little bit about some of the things. I have a few different points or things I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
I definitely didn't do as much research as you did. I think Ken, with his research, what he did on his topic, he had like 4 pages, 5 pages.
Yeah, I tend to do that.
Technically, I have 2 pages, but it's like 1 page front and back.
Okay.
So, it's going to be a little bit different. But I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Ooh, okay. So what are we working with? I'm like excited. I have a couple of ideas because like I know you as a person, but like let's see.
I topicked mine cryptids in Connecticut with a side of spirits.
Okay, yeah. So that's like totally on. That's totally on brand.
On
for
brand,
you.
and a very different topic from before.
But cryptids in. Oh yeah, very different.
Cryptids in Connecticut.
In Connecticut. Okay, because see, I know a little bit about cryptids like
Mhm.
as a whole. But like I didn't really know that Connecticut even had that many like interesting creatures.
Well, they kind of don't.
Okay, I see that.
Which
that
is why,
explains the 1 page front and back.
right, which is also why they aren't like heavily talked about.
Sure.
Like when you hear cryptids, you think about like, oh, like Mothman out in wherever
Oh
Mothman's
yeah,
from.
everybody
and like,
knows
oh,
Mothman.
Bigfoot.
Everybody's weirdly into Mothman.
Right.
That could be a different video.
Yeah, that could be a different video on its own. But we do have, we do technically have like sightings of. God, I think as long as I'm not wrong on this, I'm pretty sure we have Bigfoot sightings, and we
Ooh.
also have skinwalker sightings.
Ooh, that's cool.
We have a few different like notable, like air quotes, notable cryptids. But I'm not talking about any of those guys today.
Okay, all right, cool.
I'm talking about like kind of crappy, not crappy, but like lesser known or
Obscure.
yeah, sometimes not
Yeah.
even like actual cryptids. Some of these are just like ghost stories, which is why I wrote the with a side of spirits on there.
Ooh, okay, cool. We get a little bit from both columns on the spooky spectrum.
Little column A, little column B.
Nice.
So I'm gonna start with the least interesting.
Okay.
And we'll make our way up. The first one that I wrote a few notes on is the thing called the pigmen.
The pig. Okay, like pig hyphen men or just pigmen.
The
Okay,
pigmen.
Sure. Okay.
When I was looking it up, they said there are popular accounts and portrayals of these kinds of things in Seinfeld and American Horror Story.
Oh, Seinfeld. Oh, you know, I know someone who would probably know a lot about.
Well, that's the thing. It's neither of these things. I probably will get crucified for it, but I've never seen either.
Oh well, American Horror Story is. I think that's like it's more of a modern show. Like that hasn't been around for very long.
I've seen like a few episodes of that, but it wasn't.
Okay. I haven't seen any.
I didn't see any pigmen, so it wasn't the episode.
Yeah, that wasn't that episode. And then Seinfeld, like I know about Seinfeld, and I have a lot of friends who are like really into Seinfeld, but like I don't know if I don't think that's one of the jokes that comes up very often.
The only thing I know about Seinfeld is Jerry.
He is in fact the titular Seinfeld.
But the lore of it, I guess,
okay,
which there is not a lot of. It said that in the 1970s, a group of teens saw a man with a pig face drowning a woman. They ran home to tell their parents, but there were no traces of either the man or the woman found.
No traces of the woman either.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it say like where did this happen?
It might have, but I feel like I would have wrote it if it did. I just know it's in Connecticut.
Okay, so somewhere in Connecticut. It's
near a
not,
lake or a river or
yeah,
something like that.
I mean,
It wasn't like in the ocean.
gotcha. I mean, it's Connecticut. It's not like there's a lot of places it could be.
Right. And the thing is they probably didn't write down a location because it also said where I was, where I got my information, which I actually wrote down my sources for it. I got most of these from the CT Post, the Norwich Bulletin, and I think it was a site called like Goddamn Connecticut.
Oh, okay, yeah. So one of those like Facebook groups that.
It wasn't a Facebook group. It was
something like, yeah.
It's like an online bulletin board where people can like write their own accounts.
Oh, okay. And is it like for like spooky Connecticut stories, or just like to just shit post about Connecticut?
Kind of both.
Okay,
I think it's supposed to be about mostly like cryptids and supernatural findings.
Oh, okay. Specifically, that's neat.
But like you can go on there and complain about anything, I'm pretty sure.
Nice. Okay.
But the source that I did find this from said that the tale was mostly told to scare children from going out late at night.
Oh, okay.
And the people that like potentially first-hand accounted on this aren't around to tell exactly like where it was or what happened.
Sure. So it's just kind of one of those things that like kind of evolved into an urban legend based on what. So that's interesting to me because like I feel like there's a number of angles that could take. Like it could have just been like maybe these kids witnessed an actual murder and just
or an
like
attempted murder.
All the dude had was a pig mask to hide his face because he was. I mean, it was broad daylight? They saw him.
No,
right?
no, it was at night.
Oh, okay. Well, then I feel like that theory is probably bullshit.
I mean, maybe.
It was the 70s, you said?
Yeah, 1970s.
How big were hallucinogens
that bad
in the 70s? Because like I feel like if I was walking around at night like out of my gourd.
And then you like saw somebody murdering someone, and you went back to the source.
You'd be like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure that was a pig guy
killing a lady," and then you run back, and you're like, "Oh man!"
Or maybe you just hallucinated the whole thing.
No sign of a man or a woman, but definitely like some branches in the water. Like, not that they said they found branches, but like you got it.
Yeah, I guess my next question to that is like, when did the '60s come to Connecticut? Because if it was in the '70s, then I think we might have our answer.
I don't know.
But okay, so acting under the assumption that there may in fact be a murderous pigman on the loose still.
Be careful.
I better look out. I will try very hard to not be a lady in the water at night.
There you go.
I'm doing pretty okay so far.
The second one that I wrote about is actually a little more interesting and actually like I heard about.
Oh, okay.
Specifically from one of my older sisters, Erica.
Okay.
We were driving through, where was it? Shelton or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. I know roughly where that is.
We were driving down the highway, and she was like, "Man, like I hope we don't have to stop or something because then we're gonna like run into those melon heads." And I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Melon heads?
That is the next one, and it's not really a cryptid because it's kind of like a group of people, but they're called melon heads.
Okay.
They're said to either be a band of deranged escapees from an asylum, or
all right,
a group of remote settlers who suffered facial abnormalities due to inbreeding.
Oh, okay.
So like major, like the Hills Have Eye vibes.
Sure. Okay, gotcha. Man, I'm lucky I've seen that one. I'm usually like 0 for 10 on horror movies.
Which is probably why it scared me, because that's one of the, like, I love horror movies, but that's like one of the ones that really like scared me the most. Oh
yeah, that one is horrifying.
You break down and a bunch of people steal you and like, oh god.
Yeah, that ain't for me.
But they don't really steal people for the most part that I've heard.
Well, that's reassuring.
Melonhead roads exist.
Okay.
Notably in Shelton, Milford, and Trumbull.
Okay, yep, gotcha.
In which people claim that melonheads will attack their cars with rocks to deter people from returning. Sawmill City Road in Shelton seems to be their main stopping ground, is what it says.
So hold on. So like people have seen these people?
Yeah.
Like this isn't just like is there like, do you know if there's like is there like footage
I have no idea. I probably should have looked footage up to like, but the thing is Erica knew about them firsthand. So I don't think she's seen them, but it's definitely like a rumor that goes around. And when I looked them up, there were a bunch of firsthand accounts of people actually finding these roads and like going on these roads and seeing these people.
Jeez. See, the thing is, I feel like I can talk about cryptids no problem,
Mm-hmm.
like all day, like that's fine because it's all in good fun.
Right.
But I know where these places are,
Uh-huh.
and so for you to be like, oh yeah, like this is like a thing that happens. It's just kind of like, oh,
Right, which is
all
why I thought it'd be
right.
interesting to talk
I
about
don't
because
know
it's kind of
about
close to home.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's it. For the most part, other than throwing rocks at your car, they seem harmless as far as I've read.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
but it's definitely like it spooked me real bad when I was
Yeah,
little.
sure.
I was like, oh, we could run into these like people, and like obviously, like we probably aren't going to. I'm pretty sure they stick near their stomping grounds, like where they
Sure.
live. But I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah, like that's it. If there is like any footage of this strange creature, we'll post a link.
Well, they're not creatures. I mean, maybe, but they're like people. They're
Okay, see that's my problem. I feel like I'm literally imagining people with melon heads. But you did say I think I'm like scaring myself because you did say they were just like people with like they had like facial abnormalities or
right.
like from an asylum or something.
They're said to
I'm
either
lit.
be deranged escapees from a asylum
Uh,
or to have suffered facial abnormalities because of inbreeding. So they're just like they're people.
See, you can tell it's got me on edge because like
He's
I just
immediately
fixate.
starts projecting into the
I'm
future with different
yeah, I'm
creatures.
literally thinking of like for those of you who have seen Steven Universe, I'm thinking of like creepy like Melon
Oh,
Stevens,
I see.
like dudes running around like just like bit like large muscular human bodies with like Melon Steven heads and like red eyes, and they're
Right.
like chucking rocks at you and
Well,
stuff.
see, that's
But
the
that's
thing too.
not remotely what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, no. I wish I could have done a little more. Like, I wish there was like documentaries of like inside information of people like going to see these people or
Okay.
like what was going on or like if they're 100% real. Like, there are definitely eye accounts and like people that have said they've seen them and like interacted with them and had them like throw rocks at their car.
Sure.
But like I wish I could have like learned a little bit more, like had like people go in and like actually like see these people, so I'd be able to report a little bit more on what exactly they're like. But other than like for the most part, as far as I'm aware, they're like a spooky legend and just like people you don't want to run into and like you don't want to go where they go.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I feel like that's not a field trip I will plan in my future. But it does seem like a fascinating research topic.
There you go. Yeah.
I wonder where like was there like a time frame on like when that
like when they started?
Yeah, like when that legend started to pop up. Did they like do you know if they said anything about that?
I don't think so, but I could definitely
because I know
that
they had like really like old style like they're really messed up asylums in Connecticut for like a pretty long time. That's where a lot of like a decent number of spooky legends come from. Or even like a little bit north of us. I know there were some in like Massachusetts and like Rhode Island and things like that. So like I wonder if like how long ago do we think these asylums came into play and like
where they could have potentially come from.
Yeah, like did they like settle down here because they like escaped and ended up here? Were they like from a local asylum that like closed down? I don't know. It's just like it's interesting just knowing. I mean, objectively, what little I do now about Connecticut history because I don't really know a lot.
Okay, so I did a little more research just now.
Okay.
It really doesn't give like where they come from and stuff, but all it says is, and this is from a New England Historical Society.
Oh, okay, all right, so that's legit.
They look like small humanoids with oversized heads, and they rarely come out from hiding. They survive by eating small animals like stray cats and apparently human flesh.
Oh, nice. They're cannibals.
Um,
That's my favorite.
They said usually teens.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. That feels like they're like, don't run out and go play in the woods, because otherwise you'll get in trouble.
Um,
Okay.
yep, inbred families with large heads.
Oh, goodness.
Percy jumped on his lap and scared him.
Yes. So our cat
Okay.
is.
Melonhead's story surfaced in Connecticut after World War II, at a time where people moved away from cities and into the suburbs.
Okay.
They probably reflect New York's prejudice and fear of isolated rural folk.
Oh, okay.
How do they end up in Connecticut? One theory claims that they came from a family accused of witchcraft and vanished into the wilderness.
Oh, all right, cool.
Um,
That classic Connecticut witchcraft.
Another theory states that they escaped from the Fairfield Hills Hospital, a now abandoned mental institution.
When did that close down? That was
A
while ago, I think.
It said that they would have escaped from that institution around the 1960s.
Okay, that sounds about right. If anybody can hear any stray purring, that is our cat who has decided to.
He wants to hear about the cryptids.
Yes, he wants to hear about the cryptid, and he has detected my minor anxiety, and so he's decided to make a new home on my lap. Hi, buddy.
So yeah, those are the melon heads.
Melon heads, jeez. Okay, so that's kind of cool because I honestly had never heard about them before, but like
I had a feeling you might not have.
Yeah.
I'd only ever heard about them once in my entire life, and then I was like,
just from America.
Yeah, just from America, and I was like, maybe I'll throw these guys into my cryptid thing, even though they're not like cryptids, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. That kind of counts, especially
if
they were like
witches that
born,
inbred and turned into like weird flesh-eating teens.
Yeah, born of like corrupted witches who like practice dark arts and eat human flesh. Like that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's dope. Anyway, we're gonna move on to something slightly more lighthearted.
Au revoir, melonheads.
This one, actually, I think is more in Massachusetts.
Okay.
But also comes down to New England. Because it was on our list. It said it was like mainly Massachusetts, but also kind of New England.
Sure.
Connecticut areas. They are called puckwudgies.
I have heard that name before.
You've heard of puckwudgies?
I've heard of a puckwudgie, yeah.
They're kind of gnomish, like not like lawn gnomes almost.
Like the kind of like stereotypical like old English gnomes, like the crooked warty nose,
yeah.
like wiry hair kind of creatures. Okay.
They're said to be very mischievous.
Like kind of like goblin-y.
Almost goblin-y. They're like a gnome and a goblin mixed together.
Sure.
They're said to be a Wampanoag, like
a Wampanoag
folklore.
Tribe. Okay, cool.
And according to them, puckwudgies used to be very allied with humans until we pissed them off and turned them against us, which is classic white people shit.
That is absolutely something that, especially if it's a native legend, like it makes perfect sense that like pilgrims and colonists come over and they're like,
pissed them the fuck off.
Made them mad. Like, welcome to all of American history.
Yeah, all the natives are like, yeah, we had them under control, and then you came along and fucked it up like everything else.
Oh, good. We've created our own monster yet again.
Yes, of course. They're most known to roam the Bridgewater Triangle area in Massachusetts.
Okay, sure.
And they can range from mischievous pranksters meant to annoy with like antics and like tricks to downright dangerous and like almost murderous.
Okay.
Depending on their feelings, I guess.
Sure, yeah. Depending on their emotional state, they may or may not kill you.
They're said to be able to appear and disappear at will. And they love to steal things, whether it be your lunch or your life. It's kind of up to them.
That's so like it's just like their moods. They're very like
I guess depending on like the offenses you cause or how they feel
Sure.
about you in particular.
So like I'm gonna sound like tone deaf, I think, on this one, because I'm pretty sure I am mixing like cultural interpretations of different spirits and creatures,
Mm-hmm.
but like it almost sounds like fae like.
Yeah,
Based on my knowledge of the fae as like prankster spirits.
I could see where those kinds of things get kind of
Sure,
crossed.
but I mean, it's got to have a different connotation to it because it's native folklore.
Yeah, because they're not fae,
Right.
But they have kind of the same MO, except for like with fae, it's like if you don't get entangled with them and you don't like, and you take steps to not give them gifts and like make sure you keep your distance and you just respect them and you leave them alone. Normally, they will stay away.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure with puckwudgies, you don't get to pick.
They just decide how they feel, and that's it.
And then they fuck with you however they want.
So in general, the game plan is don't encounter them.
Yes, I think that's kind of the thing.
Because if you do, you no longer have a choice as to what happens.
Which was great because we did all of this information, and I think puckwudgies were the last things that I wrote on.
Yeah.
Besides something of my own experience that I wrote down about.
Oh, fun! I'm excited about that.
And I got a resin mold in. And I was making, like, a doll, and I put the mold to the side, and it was literally, like, the second thing I did after I wrote about, like, the puckwudgies.
Right.
And then I went to go finish for the day, and my mold was gone.
Yep.
Just thin air, just gone. Yep. And I'm not saying that I thought it was a puckwudgie, but I was like, of course I write about these weird things that like to fuck with you and take your shit, and now my stuff's gone. Like... And the best part is that Percy very easily found it, like the day after.
Oh yeah, well of course, because he did not anger the spirit.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah, they must like cats.
Percy's the cat.
Yes. That's hilarious. Actually, I feel like that just goes along with your like experience with spirits and creatures in general. Like you tend to just somehow be more drawn to supernatural occurrences in your everyday life than most people that I have ever met. For like, I don't know what reason. Is it because you grew up in a haunted town? Like, is that why?
I have no idea. It could be. But that's the thing, is it wouldn't...
next to a cemetery.
It wouldn't explain the continued paranormal activity.
Sure.
Or, like, paranormal sensory or whatever.
Yeah.
But, honestly, that one could have been me projecting, like...
Sure.
That one could have been like, oh, well, I have it in my head now that, like, something... Or there are things that are around that could fuck with me, so, like, of course I would lose my things and, like, not be able to find them, like...
Right.
It's I don't know. I don't think it was actual puckwudgies, but
well, yeah, but the
it's
irony,
coincidental.
Yeah, the irony of the situation. I hope I'm using irony right there. Flame me in the comments if I'm not. So you said there was you had a personal story?
Yeah, I'm not doing that one yet. I'm doing that one last.
Okay. I'm excited about that because I think I know what it is.
I'm actually really interested to see if you know this one because this is one that they tell us at a really young age, at least where I grew up.
Really? Okay. I don't know if I heard anything about.
Oh, you probably have.
This monsters.
This one's a spirit.
A spirit? Okay.
It's called the Black Dog of Hanging Hills.
No, I've never heard.
It's actually a really famous story. They published this one in a book, and the thing that was really cool about it was that I heard this story firsthand because it has to do with what is it? Where is it? It's Castle Craig.
Remind me where Castle Craig is again? It's
in the Hanging Hills.
It's in the Hanging Hills. Yeah. Well, duh, of course. Of course it is.
And it's in Connecticut.
It's in Connecticut. Because the thing is, I've heard that name before.
Because it's one of our more famous landmarks.
Yeah.
Let me look
spoiler
up
alert.
location.
I don't get out much. I do like to maintain a certain radius from my home at all times. And so
it's in Meriden.
Oh, it's in Meriden?
Yeah, it's in Meriden.
Oh, shit.
Like, when we go to the mall, you can see it.
I actually have friends who grew up in Meriden. Emily.
Oh, okay.
She grew up in Meriden.
But the thing is we went on a field trip to Castle Craig when I was in elementary school.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And they told us this story, and then I went with my family to Castle Craig as like a day trip, and then Dad told us this story.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then I found a book in middle school of New England like folk tales and stuff.
Ooh,
and it was in the book.
Wow. Okay.
So I've heard this 3 times prior to reading this on the internet and doing this little thing on it.
Sure.
But it said that if you're wandering Castle Craig in the Hanging Hills, you should be on the lookout for an ethereal black dog that's said to follow visitors.
Ooh.
Though the dog never leaves a trace, it's said that if it visits you once, that it will bring you good luck.
Okay, that's good for me.
But there's more.
Of course.
If it visits you twice, it will bring you sadness. And if it visits you a 3rd time, it will ultimately lead to an untimely death.
Yuck. So it has kind of like similarities to like the black dog of like Irish folklore.
I suppose.
Oh, okay. I don't know very much about that, but I feel like I could be wrong. It could be Scottish folklore, but I think it's Irish folklore, and I feel like a black dog is specifically like an omen of bad luck.
There are lots of tales about black animals.
Sure. Like black cats and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. From all over the world. There's like, I couldn't recount all of them to you at all.
Sure.
Because some people think that black animals bring good luck. Some people think they bring bad luck.
Right.
Some people have like stories about like black dog spirits that like are supposed to like tell tales of death or like.
Gotcha.
It depends on like where you are and like what kind of spirit you got, I guess.
Okay.
But this one brings you good luck on a first sighting, sadness on a second sighting, and then on a third is trying to tell you of your untimely death.
I see. And like you just see the creature walking around. Like it doesn't walk up to you, just kind of see it.
Yeah, you like see it in the forest. The thing is I remember as a kid I was like,
spooky.
You look for the dog once, and if you see the dog once, you just don't come back to Castle Craig.
Never come back. Because that's the thing, and it's like here's a little like a tip for any spirits out there, or cryptids or ghosts who are ultimately seeking to take my mortal soul.
I don't want it.
Yeah, I would prefer. Well, yeah, that's true. Just take it. Like I don't need it. I'm not gonna do anything good with it.
With the way 2020's been going, take it.
I'll go to bed. Like it's fine. But if a spirit desperately wants to take my soul or otherwise cause me misfortune, the only thing that it needs to do is manifest to me in the form of an adorable animal. That's it. Because if I saw the black dog while I was at Castle Craig, if I saw that dog, I'd be like, I'm gonna pet that dog. Like I want to pet. I'm gonna
pet that dog.
Exactly. I'm gonna go pet that dog, and I will probably die because every time I see the dog, I'll just be like, man, that dog looks like it could use a good pet.
Do I really want to live the rest of my life not petting the dog?
Yeah,
though?
like knowing that I could have pet that dog and I did not.
But the thing is I'm pretty sure
wasteful.
In the thing it says it doesn't leave a trace, and it probably doesn't like let you near it.
You literally said it was an ethereal black dog. See, that would just be disappointing to me because I would see the dog and I'd be like, yeah, and I'd run towards it, and there's not really a dog there.
Right,
it's
just like
I will forever live with the sadness of knowing that I could have potentially pet that dog
and couldn't pet the dog.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So any spirits out there that are looking for a free and easy soul, just like show up as like an otter. Like that'll.
You can just have me.
Yeah, that'll get you there. Just just be an otter or like a cute cat. Or that's the best way to do it. But yeah, I have read in some places that like black dogs and black animals in general tend to be like omens of death. It is interesting that this one has sort of like a dual nature. Like it's only an omen of death if you see it too many times.
Right. Well, it's 3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll give you good luck on the first look, but stop looking at me after that.
Some spirit is a big baseball fan, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last one that I wrote about is much more freeform.
Sure.
And probably more of a discussion because this is one I've actually told you about before.
I think I know this one. Yeah, I'm very excited.
But I definitely wanted to just talk about it because this is something that I've never like seen written anywhere exactly. It's just something that's happened to me personally.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say exactly where it happened because I kind of want to protect my hometown.
Right. That's fair. We will not use town names in that case.
I mean, you could probably figure out from the information I'm going to give you. But if you care that much, then I'm assuming you probably would care to not destroy the place. So, it's in the middle of the woods. That's why I'm concerned. I don't want to have people like wrecking it. I called this one Hometown Spirits. I lived in a town that was settled in 1710. My house was built in 1780.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
It's a colonial style home about 1,998 square feet, about 46.38 acres.
Okay. That's big, right?
It's pretty big.
I am not an acres expert, but yeah, sure.
It was a lot of acres, which I never actually got to explore because it's literally like you go back a mile and then you can't. It's just woods and there's like a drop off cliff that you can't get past.
Okay, sure.
But there were these weird, like, we always figured that my house was haunted.
Yep.
So we had somebody come and check it out, and they got the heebie-jeebies bad time from our house. There was a few different spirits they like pointed out in particular.
So who was this person?
She was actually one of my sister's friends.
Okay.
But she had a very I guess she wasn't like a licensed person.
Yeah, right. That's fine.
But
sometimes when you're sensitive to spirits, you just are. Like you don't really need credentials.
But the thing too is I don't think she'd been in our house prior. And she also like pointed out all the spots where we felt weird living there.
Like without knowing.
Without being there and without talking to any of us. I don't think that Erica talked to her about the weirdness going on in the house prior to that. I think she had just mentioned that the house felt funny and that like, oh, maybe you should come check it out and like tell us if there are things. And so she's like, sure. And so she came. And she pointed out like weirdness in my mom's room and in my oldest sister Courtney's room.
Yeah.
And I think she said a little bit of Brandon's room, a little bit of mine.
Okay.
And then the basement, she would not go in.
Just like straight up wouldn't enter the basement at all. Oh man.
Which is perfectly understandable because that was the one spot that gave us all the fucking creeps.
Yeah.
Like you would go down there and it just felt fucked.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'd have to go down there to like turn on the hot water heater.
Sure.
And you would not you would run down as fast as you could. And you would try to like get the heater on and then just fucking bolt out as fast as you could because you could feel eyes on you. It didn't feel cool. Like you just didn't want to be down there. And it wasn't classic like, oh, I'm in the basement, so I'm gonna run up because it feels spooky. Like you could feel something about to gravity.
Yeah,
you didn't want to be there.
There was just like wrong energy there.
Well, nothing was finished either. Like all the walls were made of stone, like stacked stone.
Okay.
There was a dirt floor. All the wood was like made out of like old boat panels. Like, not fun.
Yeah, it was a home made in 1780 for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I guess somebody had at one point mentioned that they thought that there was voodoo done in the basement.
Oh, okay, wow.
And that was and I don't want this to sound like weird and off, but like this is why I was asking you about like when slavery like happened and when it ended. And
Oh, that's why we were having. Yeah, because I mean that. Suffice it to say, like, I mean that makes a
like
lot of
obviously I
sense.
knew it was recently that it ended, but
Right, but like, yeah, I mean that. Oof. Yeah, that seems like that's probably pretty likely, especially knowing like some of the colonial history of.
right.
Like, I don't know a lot, but like that seems like something that is at least plausible to have happened.
Right. People assumed, and that's the thing is, this is just an assumption, so nobody get your panties in a bunch. Assumed that the people, because we couldn't look back far enough to tell who had owned the house, like every step of the way previous.
Sure.
So we assumed that maybe in some of the earliest points, some people may have owned slaves in the home, and probably tried to keep them in the basement or the shed. Because the shed was like this big, wide open space with a loft above.
Oh, okay.
And then the basement had one of those cellars that like wide opened up to the yard.
Okay. Yep.
And so they thought that maybe there were like slaves potentially on the grounds in either spot, and why there could have been like more sinister vibes than just ghosts.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I understandably. I mean, if that had happened, I could understand why they'd be like pretty pissed about the home in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very angry spirits.
And so there was like all sorts of weird things that would happen in the house. Like there was like rice jars that got thrown across our fridge. Yeah. Like doors would just become unlatched and open. I have that one famous story where it would the door just swung open and I shut it, and it was like one of those like latch doors that like had the bar and then the hook, and you could like put the hook onto the like thing so it wouldn't open.
Like click it in. Yeah.
And so I clicked it in and it opened, and then I shut it and then it opened, and then I shut it and then it opened. And so I did the hook and eye lock on top of that, and I was like, I'd like to see you open that. And then it fucking like flicked open, and then the door just swung, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll leave.
Yeah, it's still like I've heard that story several times, and that still like weirds me the fuck out. Like that's, I would be like, I'm out. Like I'll go live on the road. Like I don't like I'll hitchhike. Like I'm not playing that game.
Well, that and there was like, my mom didn't tell me this until we moved out, but there was like an old man that died in my room.
Okay.
That lived there before us.
Yay.
And I swear to God, he used to play with my toes. Which is why I will not sleep without the blanket pushed over like under my feet.
That makes so much sense now.
But
oh jeez.
The weirder one was
weirder than an old man playing with your toes?
The weirdest part.
All right, lay it on me, I guess.
We used to live near these cemeteries. That I think I have the date they were made. Yeah, the oldest one was made in 1717, and the newest one was made in 1973.
Oh wow, okay.
And they always had Memorial Day celebrations, like where kids, and there weren't many, so they would have like the few kids in the town decorate their bikes with like streamers and like sparkles and like all this crap.
Okay.
And then you would go and have like a bike showing. They would like talk about the flag, like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Because there was a bunch of war veterans that were buried in the more recent cemetery.
Gotcha.
Or maybe the old one too. I don't know. I didn't really like look for the veterans. I was thinking about my bike.
Right, of course.
And the first or maybe the second year that we went, because I remember Brandon was too young to go, but I was old enough.
Okay.
And we moved there when I was 7, so I was like 8 or 9.
Oh, all right, gotcha. Oh, so you were like young.
I was young.
Okay.
There was a little girl with dark hair in a white dress.
Mm-hmm.
That I would, or that I had never seen before.
I remember this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she decided that we should play, and so we were like running around all the gravestones, which I know not to do that now.
And you never seen this.
I'd never seen her before in my life.
Yeah.
And we were like like climbing graves and like running around. And then very suddenly we heard a very loud, like roaring, rumbling kind of sound from the woods. And by this point we were like kind of far away from where the parents were.
Right.
And we she was like, we should go check that out.
The roaring rumbling sound?
Yeah. And I was like,
okay.
no.
It's like, we could just also not do that and then pretend we did, and it's fine.
Well, that's the thing, is she was like, we should go check what that is. And I was like, no, we definitely should not go check that out. And she's like, well, I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, you do you, boo-boo.
And I was like, okay. And so she did. She walked off down the hill and into the woods and then didn't come back. And so I was like, okay. And I waited, and eventually the ceremony ended. All the parents started grabbing their kids and leaving. I'm like, I'm going to wait for her parents because they're going to wonder where the heck she is. And I'm just going to be like, she's in the woods. And then I'm going to go home.
Right.
But no, nobody ever came. Nobody asked where she was. Apparently no one was watching her or didn't care. But I also never saw her again.
Yeah, that's so she like
Poofed.
Yeah, just vanished into thin air, and like there was no parents ever, like nobody ever.
No one ever like said she was missing. No one ever asked where she was. I never heard about her or like see her or anything again until many years later, which I'll get to at the end.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
So a few more years pass, or maybe not. Maybe at least one or two.
Okay.
I was like 10 or 11.
After she has returned to the spirit world, of course.
Yeah, after I've never seen her again, 2 or so years later.
Right.
I walk around this town all the fucking time because there's nothing around. There's no streetlights, there's no stores, there's like nothing. It's just the woods and like the town and like wild animals. So we probably shouldn't have been running around, but we would.
Yeah.
And I decided to go walking down the street one night, just by myself. As an 11-year-old, just through the wilderness.
You could just do that in your town?
Yeah, why not?
Wow. Okay, sweet.
And I went to I got to about the cemetery.
Gotcha.
Which for people that have never been there, which is pretty much everyone, the street goes straight and then like branching off. If you're going down the street towards the Connecticut River.
Oh, okay.
Before the giant hill, there's a little branching path off to the right that brings you to the big cemetery, the newer one, and then to the left, there isn't even a road, it's just the field to the left is the old cemetery.
The one that was built like 7 years after the town was founded.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I was walking and I was coming just about to that point. I liked to go into the new cemetery.
Sure.
It had a paved path and you could do a loop and then you could just walk back home.
Right.
But there was also a family next to the cemetery that would often put their trash cans out next to the little path because that's where the truck could get to them.
Sure.
And I was walking down the path, and then all of a sudden, this very tall, very thin, suited man, and he had to be really tall because it was like his waist up from the top of that can. Pops up from the can.
From behind
the trash cans.
Okay.
And he's got the top hat, he's got a cane, he has a mask on that I used to call the happy theater mask because it was like the happy and sad theater.
Oh, okay.
So but he had the smile and like the slitted eyes, gloved hands, but like midnight black skin, if you could call it skin. I think he was like ethereal.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he popped up and he waved at me and then popped back down.
What?
And I was like, okay. I didn't like feel threatened.
Just okay?
Yeah, like I didn't feel threatened, but I was like, I shouldn't go in there.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna go wherever the opposite of that is.
So, but I also didn't want to put my back to him.
So
I walked all the way back home completely backwards.
How long was that?
I don't know. Like, I could see my house or like my like yard from there.
Okay, so like a few 100 feet, probably.
It was more than. It was definitely more than like 7 yards.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A decent amount. Well, I mean, yeah. So like not much at all then.
Like, not really far, but far enough that I was like, I could turn around at some point near the end, but I just didn't. I was like, no. And I'd seen him a few more times after the fact, but it like he never felt threatening. He never felt scary. Like, he was fine.
You saw him a few more times?
Yeah. Like, nothing like as astronomical as like that first meeting, but I'd see him like walking around or like peeking from behind trees and like stuff like that.
I mean, but like even if it wasn't as astronomical as that, it's like seeing like a gentleman specter just like manifesting from behind garbage cans several times is like too many times.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, maybe not for you, who apparently just lived in like ghost town USA, but like
he seemed fine. He didn't try to hurt me. He was all right.
Yeah. Seems pretty cool.
Well, especially because the second one that I saw, which is why I figured that it was like potentially because of like a manifesting of some kind of voodoo.
Oh, yeah, because I kind of was in like, I mean, and granted, like I don't know very much about voodoo, but like I was definitely getting some vibes like from what I know of like people like friends of mine who have like been to Haiti and like talked about like spirits with like locals down there and like who've lived there for a while.
Right.
Like yeah, there's some voodoo vibes from that particular figure.
But that's the thing is I looked into it a lot when I was younger and I like never really found much.
Sure.
Probably because I was like an 11-year-old trying to do research and I just wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
But also to this day I really can't figure out what it was, and there was only like there's one guy on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
He talks about voodoo all the time.
Gotcha.
And how you're not supposed to fuck with it, which you're not. And
that sounds like sound advice.
But he was like talking about different Loa.
Oh, yeah.
And like some of the things I saw kind of struck chords, like maybe not exact ones. I could be completely off base.
Sure.
But I was like, ooh, like maybe I could like figure out what these things are. Still hasn't responded to me. Like, that's fine. Not his job. He doesn't have to talk to me about it.
Sure.
Especially if it's like he read it and he's like, that's a bunch of bullshit. Of course he's not going to respond.
Sure.
But either way, there were other ones that I saw. Mm. One of them was this black spectral like form.
Yeah.
That was kind of hunched. He wasn't as tall, but he was still tall.
Yeah, tall but hunched over. Okay.
He would hunch. And he had a mask, but I never really got a good look at what the mask looked like. I would just see parts of it because he liked to stay behind trees. Like almost 100% of the time.
Okay. Yes, a totally normal thing.
Yes, a totally normal thing. But he would carry like a hatchet, which is why we called him Hatchet Man.
Just casually, just like hanging out with me and my buddy Hatchet, just chilling behind this tree while kids walk home from school.
Well, no, this all happened at night. None of them really came out.
Oh, I mean, that's better.
Sometimes, the first one we called Tuxedo Man because he was the first one and he has the tuxedo.
Yeah, he was in a tuxedo, sure.
I know, very creative names. We were 11.
You were 11, like that's a great name.
But he would sometimes come out during the day.
Oh.
But not a lot.
Okay.
There weren't big, showy, like, seeing hymns during the day. It was just, like, little, like, behind trees things.
Sure.
But the hatchet guy, the thing is no one else saw Tuxedo Guy.
Oh.
But all like, almost every one of my friends that would come hang out with me at my house saw the hatchet guy.
Okay.
So much so that I was hanging out with my friend one time, like my best friend, like from middle school.
Sure.
Years later. And he kept getting closer and closer and closer. And she got so, like, we were just hanging out on the picnic table outside of my house, and she got so freaked out that we ran inside crying, and she made me wake up our mom, or my mom, so that she could go and check and make sure there wasn't people out there, or she could scare them away, because she thought we were going to get murdered.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yeah, that sounds that's a very different experience from what I had growing up. I lived in a small town and sometimes there were cows.
We had cows.
And ghosts apparently.
Yeah, and ghosts. Um, but also there was only one other one that I remember pretty vividly, and this
Mm-hmm.
one was a purely day's time sighting, which was weird.
Oh, okay, odd.
He was like big and animal-esque. He almost like kind of had like a gorilla kind of form, where he was like tiny on the bottom and like really big on the top.
It's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Carry on.
But we were jumping on my friend's trampoline,
Okay.
and then off in the distance, I thought I saw like a shadow going through the trees,
Yeah.
but I didn't really pay too much attention because I was having fun with my friends, so I really wasn't like looking.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, like one of the biggest branches from the tree next to his trampoline just crashed to the ground.
Ooh.
And I'm pretty sure I saw it like running away through the trees.
Like whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was. And the only reason I thought that it was in the same classification was the like dark black ethereal kind of body.
Oh, okay. So you got like a reasonable glimpse of it then?
A glimpse of like it, but like not a really good look
Yeah, like,
to where
not
I
great
could
details.
like if it had a mask or like if it had any other details, like if it was carrying things or like had clothes.
Okay.
But everyone else was like, "Oh, weird," and then like kept jumping, and I was like, "Nobody else sees that thing." And
Like, did y'all see the weird the Bigfoot monster? Like, no, but just me.
Okay, maybe I'm crazy. That's fine. Um,
Fuck.
but the thing was, is that happened through like my entire stint of living there. So from like age 17 to age 15, or 17, age 7 to age 15.
Okay. So that was just like normal for you.
That was just how it was.
Whew.
But and I'll finish this story and then I'll go on the weird one I was gonna say about my dad. But we moved away and I kept loving to go back and visit the place because it's obviously like my hometown. I love that place.
Yeah, we've been there once.
Yeah. But I went back there with Erica once after she got her license.
Okay.
And I was telling her these stories as we were like going through the streets, and at one point she's like, "Shut up." And I was like,
ooh.
Why? I was like, I'm just like, I know it's nighttime and it's spooky, but like you don't have to be pissed. It's just like a spooky story.
Right.
And she's just like, "No, you need to shut up." And I was like, "Okay, what? Like, what is going on?"
Right.
And she's like, "I saw that girl. The girl from the very beginning."
Fuck that.
And I was like, "You did?" And I'm getting fucking goosebumps right now. So she's like, "I saw that girl." And I was like, "When?" And she's like probably back around that year or something like that.
What?
But she also saw the hatchet guy.
Fuck that. That's not okay.
And the tuxedo guy.
And you two never talked about that before?
No, like I'm getting goosebumps.
I can see, yeah.
Fucking, and she saw all three of them in our living room.
Okay.
In our fucking living room.
How the fuck? How did she not mention it? I would be like,
because she probably thought she was nuts. She probably.
Jeez, yeah, okay.
She said that she saw the hatchet guy put the little girl in a burlap sack, and then the tuxedo guy, did something. I think he told her to be quiet, put his finger up to his lips, and then they left.
The house?
Yes.
I would. Okay, that would be I'd be like, all right, process that for a second. Walk directly to the family and just go, "Hello, I am moving. It is time for us to go. Family, you will come with me. We will go find somewhere else to live. This house is over. We're done here."
I think she thought that she was.
Fuck that.
I think she thought she was either going crazy or was seeing things or had a weird
or
dream.
thought she was daydreaming or something.
Yeah.
So she just didn't mention it.
But then, 10 or some odd years later, I'm telling her these stories about all the times I've seen these people, and she's like, "The fuck?" She's like, "We're leaving. We're not staying here. I'm not gonna. We're going home."
Oh my god. Yeah, so you just straight up lived in a cursed house and invited vengeful prankster spirits into your life.
Yeah, kind of.
Sweet.
Well, not even just, and that's the thing too, is why I figured it might have to do something with people in the past summoning spirits or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just the house. Sure, it was centralized in the house.
Yeah.
Because they obviously had access to the house.
Right.
But they were everywhere. Like, I saw them, like, down at the river, down at my friends, down in the cemetery, like, at home, like, other places.
Like, all around places you frequented.
Yeah. But that was the best part, is because I thought that we were done.
After there is more to this saga. Oh, okay.
I thought we were done. But, what is it? I moved to where we live now. Which I'm not going to say because I don't want people to look for it.
Oh no.
But I moved to where we live now.
I'm about to never sleep again. Please continue.
And it was like maybe a year or so after we moved here, because I think I was 16 years old.
Sure.
And all my friends knew about these things because I told them, and if they didn't already see them, they knew about them.
Right.
And my friend James was like, "Do you want to hang out?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And it was like 9:00 at night.
Yeah, okay.
And he's like, "I'm gonna walk over to your house." And I was like, "Sure." Just let me either know when you get halfway, or like if you want to walk all the way, just let me know when you're here. He's like, "Okay." Not 10 minutes pass.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, "Do those things still follow you around?" And I was like,
what the fuck?
They haven't been that I noticed. Why? And he's like, "'Cause I see one. And it's like following me." And I was like, "Oh no."
No, we out.
And so he was like,
I will take the first shuttle off of Earth, please and thank you.
And he was like, he got so scared because it kept getting closer to him as he walked that he was like, "I'm not coming over. I'm going back home, and maybe we'll hang out like tomorrow during the day."
Oh my god. Oh, that's so terrifying. Also, in the middle of that conversation, my cat has just decided to now take residence on my shoulder. So he's goodbye. Oh, I missed him already.
I got him.
But anyway, as you were saying about the horrible monsters that have followed you here, and now I have to look out for it.
Well, that's the thing too, is because I don't know. I don't think this house is haunted. Sometimes I get heebie-jeebies.
Sure.
But, like, no one else has really complained about anything.
Right.
But the only other thing, and I can't say it was them or anything else.
Another thing. Wow.
I can't say it was them or anything else because I didn't see anything.
Mm.
But me and Rebecca were at home in my room just chilling. And I don't think anyone was home except for like me and Mom and Rebecca.
Gotcha.
I think Brandon was out with a friend. Erica was like at work. Courtney didn't live with us anymore.
Oh, okay, she'd already moved. Gotcha.
Cheese was like at her friend's. It was like a weekend.
Sure.
And me and Rebecca are just talking. And all of a sudden, from like down, like we're in our garage right now recording, but like outside the garage is like our laundry room that connects to the hallway that connects to my room. Mm. And so from the laundry room, we just hear dunk, 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 like something running up to our room. Like just heavy footfalls, like running up. And then a kick into the door so hard that we both looked over and saw the wood bend.
Okay.
And so I'm like, is like one of the cats going nuts or something? So I walk up.
That's what I would assume.
I open the door. No cats. Nothing.
Like nowhere.
Nowhere. But I was like, okay, so maybe they like jumped off the door and ran up the stairs. And so I called up to Mom, and I was like, "Mom," and she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Did you just like hit my door or something like that?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, did anyone get home just recently? She's like, "No." And I was like, "Okay. Did a cat just run upstairs? Did you see any cats?" And she's like, "All the cats are outside."
Fuck that.
And so there was nothing. There was nobody. But somebody kicked my door.
They were coming for you. It was the hatchet guy who was trying to split the wood.
His big thunking boots.
Oh yeah. Oh god. No, maybe it was the gorilla one.
Maybe.
With the big arms.
He didn't seem like he was interested in any of our bullshit. He was just climbing through the trees and he fell and I probably caught him.
Do you ever wonder what was under the masks?
I have no idea. I
Or they
didn't.
would just like they just take the mask off and their face is just like a spiral of teeth, just like teeth. Just, oh
Ooh.
yeah, like that.
Or
That's the
like
visual that I got when you were describing it, and maybe it's just because I've sufficiently terrified myself.
Or like the
But
Crypt TV guy, the guy with the
oh
watch or
oh
whatever.
my god, yeah, the big just the
What the heck's
big.
his name?
I don't remember. Oh yeah, but just like just like a spiral, like a
Like no
face,
eyes, just like
just
patched skin.
yeah, and just like a spiral. Oh, wait, the one where he's got the eyes like in his hands or whatever. The
That's
look
a
see,
different.
yeah.
It's a look
It's the
see.
look see, yeah, that's the
But
one.
what you were saying was a different one. That's from like Pandora's Box or something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But that's also creepy and could be a potential.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We do quick TV reviews or
Oh
something.
god.
Yeah. I don't know about that. But okay. Wow. That's fucked. I'm now going to sleep with one eye open for the remainder of my adult life. Because ghosts follow you. I mean, like it's not like I feel like you've done enough to appease their anger. They just get pissed sometimes.
I don't think they were really pissed. I just think that like I could see them and they were around. And like when you're the only person that can see them, they pay attention because you can see them.
Oh yeah, probably.
But also, I haven't seen them in a really long time, and I'm assuming it's either because I'm getting older, so I'm just like less sighty, or maybe I'm
Sure.
just less attentive, so I'm not seeing them, or maybe it's because I live in the middle of a much more populated area, and so there just aren't as many. But I'm afraid of us having kids
Oh.
because our kids might see them.
Oh my god, could you even imagine?
If they're still around and I just don't see them, but they can see them.
Yeah, and I'm just like, we're just chilling one day, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I was hanging out with my imaginary friend. He's like
Oh
in a
my god!
yeah, like
That
he's like
fucking Beto guy or whatever
oh
from
yeah,
fucking
beat it,
TikTok.
yeah, the like where the like yeah, there was this TikTok that we were it was a series of images, but a person made a TikTok about it, and that was how we found it. But it was like this person like took a picture of their kid on like a McDonald's playscape, like back when that was
Mm-hmm.
still a thing. Um, and like they took a picture of their kid at the top. It was like one of those like big tubes, like
With like
tunnels.
the like dome that
Yeah,
you
the
can look
glass,
out.
like the not plexiglass, but it's like a plastic dome that's see through. And they took a picture of their kid up there, and they was just their child, and they took the picture, and in the developed picture, it was the child, and then next to it was like this like disturbed like gray,
Potato ass looking
yeah,
like
like
demon thing.
like sallow gray skin, smiling, like grin, smiling face next to it. And they asked their child, they're like what was going on here? And they were like, oh, that's my imaginary friend Beto, or something like
Ugh.
that.
I can't look
And
at that picture for more than a few seconds without just like feeling like
yeah, because like that's the thing.
terrified.
Like that's the thing is it like oh maybe it's just like a trick of the light, but then you ask your child about it and they just immediately are like oh no yeah that's like my friend.
Yeah, he was there, and
And
that's
you're
my
like
best friend.
and you're like, okay. Like, I don't know, kids clearly have some sort of like innate connection to the supernatural, like on a level that's like higher than I think adults do.
Yeah,
Um,
they're more sensitive.
oh, for sure. And like the fact that you saw so many spirits
Oh,
when oh, okay, hello.
scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, see, we got ourselves in a mood now. It was like some old jalopy. But yeah, like I'm terrified of the idea of like our kid one day just being like, "Oh yeah, like I saw this like I was walking home and like the guy who hangs out behind our trash cans was like was like he said hi. Like what like do you guys know him?" And we're just like,
No, just imagine if, because I obviously want to live in the middle of nowhere again.
of course, that's the best place to live."
So if we actually ever got to live in the middle of nowhere again,
Right.
imagine our child coming home and being like, "Dad, I saw a guy, a really tall, thin, like kind of like black, like shadowy dude in a tuxedo with a mask and a top hat and a cane hanging out by the garbage. Did you like pay a guy to like go hang out there or
Yeah, to
whatever?
like scare me or
Yeah.
whatever. I first of all, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like I want to say, and this is like the rational side of my brain. I want to say I would be like, no. That's or maybe I'd make a joke about it. Maybe I'd be like, "Oh yeah, gotcha," and then we would move. We would move immediately. Like, we'd be like, "Fuck that, we're going." Like they found us, we're done. We got to go somewhere else. We'll roll the dice again. We'll try our luck. Um, but what I'd probably do is have a small scale panic attack and run straight to you, like I was, like probably with my arms flailing in the air. Yeah, something along those lines. So that's I'm looking forward to that. I really am like very excited for the inevitable day when our children can see specters and spirits, and we have to move even deeper into the woods, or maybe not. I don't know.
Probably, but I want to stay in the woods.
We so we got to go deeper into the woods. Like, do you think that just invites more spirits? Like,
No, because spirits aren't inherently in the woods, but they're definitely like less. They're more likely to be away from the everyday aisles of humanity.
sure.
At least like real like spirits, not just ghosts. You know.
So basically, what you're saying is we need to just go all the way into the woods. Like we just
No.
like I don't want like we if we can see off like a
Let's just move back to my hometown.
there you go. Wait, no, that's a bad idea.
They got me already. We're going back.
Well, yeah, but like I mean, we can't go back there. Like that's where they live. That's like their house. I'm not just gonna go knocking on the ghost house and be like, "Hey, what's up, buddies? Long time no see. You want to like give me emotional trauma?"
Well, long story
Because I'm sure
short,
they'd love that.
I just want to figure out what they are. I could never
Yeah.
find anything on them.
No, but honestly, like as much as I'm like terrified of them, they also are very fascinating. Um, and like I guess I wonder if like if anyone, first of all, if anyone listening is like an expert on like local like paranormal mythology or like paranormal history of Connecticut, you might like, or any of these sound like something you've heard of before, like
Definitely give us a shout out.
yeah, we would appreciate some information so we can maybe like narrow it down.
Well, because that's the best thing too, is because a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but what I'm assuming, we're probably gonna get, unless we can get somebody that's like versed in many types of spirits and like different
Sure.
kinds of things.
I have at least one friend who knows a lot about this, I think.
I can only imagine the biggest response we're probably gonna get is demons.
Demons. Oh yeah, it's demons.
Because the only things that that's the only thing though, is they followed here, but they didn't really follow hard, is the thing.
Sure.
But demons attach to you and then follow.
Oh, okay.
And so that could be probably what I'm assuming is probably going to be one of the biggest descriptions or like explanations is demons, because then that's why they could follow you so many different places and like go with you and you go. It's the classic horror story when somebody's being haunted and then they move and then the thing's still there. It's a demon.
It's a demon. Okay. Do we need like an exorcist for that?
You don't need to. Well,
no, that's for possession, right?
That's one of the spookier things too that I didn't tell you. I think.
There's more.
Well, that doesn't have to. I don't think it necessarily has to do with them.
Okay.
But I actually did have a demon.
Oh, cool! You were like okay, all right.
Because
elaborate.
I used to fuck with Ouija boards all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because,
that sounds like a you thing.
Yeah, because I was stupid and I fucked with Ouija boards. But that's why I won't let my feet hang over the side of the bed.
Oh, besides just the old man tickling them?
That's why I won't let my feet be free while I'm sleeping.
Oh, but why you won't let it hang over
the side of the bed?
I got you.
Or like even like if I was doing like I'm sitting on a chair right now and I just have my foot planted on the ground like this. If this was my bed, I wouldn't even do this most of the time because because I'm pretty sure there was something under my bed, because we used to play Ouija board on my bed.
That was a smart decision.
Yeah, real smart. And I would always like feel like there's something under there. And so if I did turn my light off while I slept, which is a keyword, if I turned my light off while I slept,
didn't used to,
which I didn't a lot.
Gotcha.
At least back in this period of time.
Gotcha.
I would turn the light off and then run and jump into my bed because I was afraid something would grab my foot.
Oh, like when you got to the foot of the bed? Oh,
and I would sleep on the inside of my bed because
you didn't want...
I would always shut my eyes and imagine something putting its hands up on the side and then, like,
peeking up at you.
And I was so afraid that I would, like, open my eyes and see it. And I never did, but it always just felt like it was there.
Fuck.
And it made me, like, sleep deprived more than I normally am.
Yeah, which is a decent amount.
And so eventually one of my mom's, Wiccan friends, like, taught me how to do, like, salt circles and, like, smudging to get rid of, like, bad energies and all this other stuff.
Sure.
And eventually it lessened and disappeared. Not to say that I don't think it, like, I don't know if it was, like, banished, but I don't feel weird about my room anymore. But I also took my bed and got rid of the underside of my bed. Like,
yeah, that'll do
I don't have a space under my bed anymore. I've been smudging my room for years. I did plenty of salt circles around the bed. Like,
cool.
So I don't think it's a problem anymore.
Demon successfully purged.
Yeah, but that's my demon story.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know if I ever had an experience like that. Maybe I'm just not particularly supernaturally sensitive. I think it varies for certain people.
Absolutely.
I think like if you're young and you have a close like encounter or interaction with something paranormal or supernatural, I think it kind of leaves an impression on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that I did because I kind of lived in like the middle of like the like slightly nicer part of a small town growing up, and so like there wasn't like a lot of weird history. It was like we weren't like on any like strange grave sites or close to any particular graveyards. We just kind of like lived in a spot by the woods, but like not a particularly dense wood, and like near a bunch of other houses. So like I feel like I just didn't really have a close contact with the supernatural or the paranormal when I was growing up.
Well, that was something too. I don't know 100%, and I probably should have, like, I didn't expect to actually be talking about this, but I used to go talk with one of my friend's parents all the time.
Sure.
She was very, like, spiritual, and she kept talking to me about our generation and having these kids that were called indigo, crystals, and starseed children.
Okay.
Which are, like, supernaturally, like, inclined children.
Oh, all right.
Children who are believed to possess special, unusual, and sometimes supernatural traits and abilities. It was based on a concept developed by the 1970s by Nancy Ann Tate. I don't know if I said that right.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
It gained popular interest with the publication series of books. So somebody wrote a book on the theory.
Oh, okay. Like a informational book, or or was it like a book series that like featured that as like a character or something, and so people like started talking about it?
I think it's both.
Oh, okay. Like the theory wasn't invented from there, but like it was popularized because it was talked about.
Yeah, like somebody made a theory about these children being real.
Sure, like having.
I'm assuming somebody spiritual like somehow came up with this theory, and then it got popular, and somebody made a variety of books. Oh no, they weren't an adventure series. I thought it was like they made. Oh,
it was an adventure. Okay.
No, it's not an adventure series.
Oh, it wasn't.
I thought it was. I thought somebody heard the theory, made a fun little story about it. But no, they wrote books, had conferences, and made other related materials surrounding that belief.
Okay. Jeez. Yeah, because I don't think that was me. Maybe you, but not me. I definitely do not have a connection with the supernatural.
They're often empathic, curious, and strong-willed.
Oh, that's you.
Often perceived as often perceived as by friends and family as being strange.
Sure.
Me.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say it, but
poses a clear sense of self-definition and purpose.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like pretty you so far.
They show a strong innate subconscious of spirituality from an early childhood.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't necessarily imply direct potential of being an indigo crystal or child.
Star child.
Star-seeded.
Star-seeded. Okay.
Having a strong feeling of entitlement or deserve to be here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really know if you have that.
I don't really
much.
feel entitled.
Yeah.
Another allied trait include being a high intelligence quotient.
High intelligence quotient. Yeah. High IQ. Yeah, that's probably you.
Having a very high intuition.
That's definitely you.
Resistance to rigid or control-based propaganda and authority.
100% you. Like, to a degree, unlike most people I've met in my life.
Oh yeah, it says that many indigo children, in particular, will function poorly in conventional schools due to the rejection of rigid authority, regardless of being smarter or more spiritually mature than others.
Right.
They also have a lack of response to guilt, fear, or manipulation-based discipline.
Okay, yeah. That's... Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my question. When do you get telekinesis?
I don't know if we get telekinesis.
Because if you gain the ability to if you can change the TV channel from sitting down, that's a game changer for us, baby.
No,
that's a whole new ball game. You can get the remote.
Well, that was specifically on indigo. That there are the 3 different types, and I'll probably do a separate episode on it now that I've started thinking about it again.
No, this sounds fascinating, and I feel like this is something we should talk about in the future because that sounds super cool.
But I remember specifically his mother kept telling me that she thought I was an indigo child, and I never understood what that meant. I just knew that there was some kind of spiritual thing with it, and that she said that she thought I was an indigo child. Her daughter was what she called a star child.
Okay.
Or no, she was a crystal, and then there was star-seeded children that I don't know who they are or what they do.
Yeah, and these are they're different things. They have different connections and different aspects of spirituality.
Yeah, they have different roles to play in spirituality.
Weird.
It was just a new age of different kinds of spiritual children. And I never really drew too much into it, except for, I don't know why, bringing up all this weird, old spiritual stuff from my past, made me remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really did any research into it. She just said I was something special, and so I took it, because I was, 11 years old.
Sure, yeah, you're yeah, of course I am.
I was cool, this is freaking neat. But I just also remember not being happy, because she said that her daughter was a crystal one, and I was well, why not me?
Yeah, why does she get a cool fancy stone and I'm just a color?
So I never really looked into it really hard or anything like that.
Crystal on indigo? What even is indigo?
It's a color. I knew that.
Well, yeah,
but I mean, I couldn't tell you if I am or if I'm not, but
I don't know. That from what you were reading, that seemed pretty. I mean, I'm certainly not the person who should be judging that, but because I probably I have this spiritual awareness of a wet piece of paper, but from
the qualifications, it sounds like I fit pretty well. But
yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, and if she was saying it, I feel like in general, when it comes to the matter of supernatural and spiritual things, I tend to trust slightly crazy old ladies more than anything on the topic.
I was gonna say, I was she's not crazy, but she's
not crazy, very
she was very spiritually inclined. She had her house was a shrine.
Sure.
I couldn't tell you the qualifications of if she had any spiritual notes of anything.
Right.
But she her house was literally a shrine. They had crystals and tapestries and little metal idols and stuff everywhere, and that house just felt so good to be in.
Yeah,
I miss it.
I wish I knew cool people growing up. That sounds amazing. I just
Yeah.
there just wasn't like it wasn't really a thing in my small town. My hometown was very like mundane.
I grew up very lucky.
Yeah, you had or unlucky depending upon your proximity to spirits.
I suppose, depending on how you feel about spirits and
Right.
spiritual stuff and like different kinds.
I like as much as that would terrify me. Like I would think that was really cool. I do think it's really cool. It also still terrifies me, but I think that's like half the fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It never bothered me.
Huh. I don't know. I don't know how I would have felt about it when I was younger. I feel like maybe I was a little bit more adventurous when I was younger, so maybe I would have been like, oh, like neat. I don't know if I would have gone like running around in graveyards past midnight. But like,
I definitely did.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
I just had two very close to me.
right. Well, I mean, that probably made it really easy too. Yeah, I would have had to.
We also even had our favorite gravestone. Like,
oh yeah.
There was this one gravestone that looked like a coffin.
Sure.
It was like, maybe 2 feet or so tall.
Okay.
It actually looks like a coffin on top of like the coffin they put down.
That's amazing.
And it probably seems really disrespectful, and maybe was, I guess, because I couldn't ask him if it was okay.
Right, because he was dead.
We would bring his name was Fred, and we would bring him flowers.
Oh, so Fred was the owner of said gravestone.
Yes,
gotcha.
So we would like pick flowers on our way to the site. And we would leave him flowers, and then sometimes we would like lay on the gravestone.
Oh, okay.
And just like sit there and like have chats with him and like.
Oh wow, jeez. Huh, that's really cool though. But
like, I hope we always hoped that he appreciated it.
I mean, he didn't like. You don't think he was one of those spirits, probably.
No.
So then I think it was fine. I feel like he probably would have said something about it to you specifically if it was a problem.
I mean, unless he peacefully passed on and we're just sitting here like being like...
Oh, that's true. He could just not be tethered to this mortal plane.
And we're sitting here like, hey, Fred, how's it going? Like, I wish you could have like seen the day today. It was really nice. Like, here's some flowers. I'm going to lay down with you and like just give you a chat.
So sweet.
And he's like looking up from the sky going like, get off me!
Stop sitting on me. I'm trying to take a nap up here.
But we stopped doing that after we turned like 17 or something. Well, I moved away when I was 15, so we stopped doing... Yeah, like 17. I think I did that once after I moved.
Oh, okay.
But we stopped doing it.
Just for old time's sake.
Just like, because we
hey, Fred, been a while. How's it going?
It might not be exactly the most...
I mean, he didn't say anything about it, but I guess we'll never know.
Well, I know a lot of people are like really weird about walking on graves, so I'm assuming taking a nap on a grave might be kind of taboo, and a lot of people are going to be like, don't do that.
I feel like that's like goth kid street cred, though, in its own way. Like, I feel like you got to do it at least once, you know?
But yeah, that's about all the stories I got. I mean, I'm sure I have a million. We could sit here and I could think about a bunch of other weird shit that I've done, but that's about that.
Maybe that's a topic for another day.
That's true. I'll come back and talk to you more about indigo and crystal and star-seeded children when I figure out more.
That concept sounds fascinating, and I really do want to dig more into that because, I don't know, just like, I've found a recent fascination with the supernatural. Probably around the time that I met you.
Yeah, I do that too.
But yeah, oh man, that sounds really cool, and I'd like to dig more into what that all like entails and what that means. But
yeah, that's about it.
All right, so
thank you for coming and listening to my weird stories and listening to us ramble, and maybe you learned a little bit something about Connecticut briefly in the beginning, and hopefully we didn't get too weird.
If you all are, even if you're slightly less scared than me, I would consider that a win. I run this weird middle ground with like spirits and supernatural stuff where it's like it's so cool to me, but also I'm just immediately like, oh,
yeah.
So that's hopefully you had a fun ride and that you can all sleep well tonight.
Definitely tell us about literally any of the topics I talked about if you know more than me, because you probably do. I'm pretty bad at researching even still today, even though I've gotten better, and it's I'm definitely willing to learn more. It definitely sounds exciting.
Yeah, I would love to hear more. Like, if anybody knows any more, like, cryptids or ghosts or, like, strange supernatural happenings.
Especially personal stories. I love hearing
Yes.
personal stories about ghosts, cryptids, anything.
Oh,
Like, just
we would love
gimme.
to get some personal stories. Yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to our spooky adventures today.
We'll come back with Ken's next topic next week, which I still don't know what it is, and I'm very excited to learn.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. I still need to do a decent bit more research on it, but I think it'll be pretty fun. Maybe I'll be slightly more like informed about it and less just kind of like hearsay know-how on it. But we'll see how it ends up. We'll see how I wanna like what kind of stuff I want to touch
All
on.
right.
But thanks for tuning in today, everybody. We appreciate you for listening, and I guess
We'll see you next time.
yeah, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.